the Vikings coming in with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, who might be the best 1-2 receiver punch in the NFC. Well, maybe the Rams have the better 1-2 punch, but the Vikings, Thielen and Diggs are very good. And Kirk Cousins has played the Eagles very well when he was in Washington. Always able to put up points on this defense. Very familiar with this defense, playing at Lincoln Financial Field and in that environment. So it's going to be a big test, and it's a big game for both teams. Vikings are 1-2-1, and the Eagles are 2-2. So Vikings lost, and they're really, with the Bears playing well in that division. The Vikings are in deep trouble if they lose this game. I think they might be a little more desperate. The Eagles, I expect, might be playing better football in November and December, and right now they're just kind of trying to figure it out. But the main thing for them is to keep Carson Wentz healthy, and right now, the way the offensive line's playing, and that's going to be a test.
Well, we'll certainly see how it plays out. I mean, I like to say that, the AFC South is always full of surprises. I don't know that the Colts have it in them to make a comeback, but I still think they've got some wins in them. I had thought that maybe they would win 8 games. Now maybe I'm thinking about 5 or 6 games, which is going in the right direction. Rick, what are your thoughts? The Colts of the AFC South. What are your thoughts about the AFC South? We'll get into the Lions here in just a second. But as we look at the AFC South, certainly now it looks like the emerging weed, if you will, is the Tennessee Titans, because Jacksonville hasn't really lit the world on fire like we thought they would. We thought it would be Jacksonville and or Tennessee. Now Tennessee seems to be doing well, even with a ailing Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I think the Colts still have a good shot, really, even though they'll be having the 3 losses. But, like I said, bringing in Frank Reich and the coaching changes, anytime you change coaches or coordinators or whatever, it's not really plug and play. It all takes time. There's different terminology, different philosophies, different way guys practice, and it all takes adjustment. And, the Lions are seeing that right now with Matt Patricia. And I think the Colts are they're still in it, really, because that division, to me, right now, doesn't look as daunting, doesn't look as good as we all thought before the season even started. We was thinking that might have been the toughest division in football, really, and it just doesn't look that way, right? The NFC South, to me, looks like the toughest division of football right now. But the AFC South, I wouldn't go out on a limb and just say it's wide open still, because Tennessee does look pretty good under Vrabel, but I think the Colts are still in it because that division just doesn't look good. There's a good division, but it doesn't look as great as we thought at the beginning of the year.
So, Rick, let's go ahead and hang on over to the NFC North. Your Lions, they just can't get it together. Like you said, Matt, Patricia, he's just a bearded man with a pencil in his ear. At this point, he's not lighting the world on fire. You got your ass kicked game 1 against the Jets. Kate made a little bit of a comeback against the 49ers. I think you beat the Patriots, and the Cowboys beat you, so you're at the same record as the Colts. But what are your thoughts about your Lions?
The 49ers, and, of course, they didn't let the Patriots off the ground, which was surprising to me. I mean, maybe that's just Matt Patricia knowing the Patriots' way in the system, and that he just used that to his advantage there against New England. And then, lost on a last-second field goal to Dallas. So it's close against San Francisco. They beat the Patriots, lost it close on the Dallas. After week 1, I was like, I can't believe we got rid of Jim Caldwell for this. I was just mad like every other Lions fan. This is insane. But as you look at them now, they could easily be 3-1 also with the close losses to San Fran and Dallas. So, it's a coaching change. It all takes time. There's reports saying the players haven't adjusted well to the way he practices the team, and I guess maybe they're not liking the Patriot way up in Detroit, and when they actually beat the Patriots, everybody seemed happy. So it's going to take time. It's not going to be the year now because Chicago looks really good. Green Bay's in the division. Who knows really what Minnesota is, but I'm going to just say they're better than the Lions this year. So it's going to be a tough year for the Lions. 5 or 6 wins. I'm just going to go ahead and jump out there and just predict that unless things really turn around with the offense and the defense can step up and get some stops, late in games, because letting Dallas drive the field and getting field goal range like they did last week, they could have easily won that game. But as that bend but don't break defense, that's probably going to have to change.
And let's talk about those Kansas City Chiefs. They've got themselves a super stud quarterback. Seems to be, the thing about rookie quarterbacks, you just don't know. He seems like he's the real deal. He seems like he's got that under control, but Kansas City is a good team. You're familiar with the coaching squad up there in Kansas City. They were right there last year. Has Kansas City got it figured out for 2018?
Well, with Andy Reid as the head coach, you really, the testing ground is the postseason. He's gotten teams there and then has come up short year after year after year. 14 years in Philadelphia, he took them to one Super Bowl, and he has yet to do so in, I guess, what's he been in Kansas City now? 5 or 6 years, hasn't taken them to the Super Bowl yet. So to me, the Chiefs are always kind of, just wait and see what it looks like in the postseason. To me, they look like the best team in that division. There's a nice win against the Broncos last week in Denver. And that Mahomes, he absolutely looks like the real deal. But again, 5 games in or 4 games in, whatever we are at this point, and, the more tape that is put together with Mahomes, defenses could figure him out and challenge him. But, boy, he is fun to watch. I really got a good look at him in that game last week for the first time. And, well, he's got an arm, he's got mobility, he's got creativity. He's got all the things you like to watch in a quarterback. So I love watching good quarterback play. And I think they got the real deal, and maybe he will be the guy. The Eagles thought they had him here in Donovan McNabb when Reed was here, but to me, Mahomes looks better than McNabb in a lot of areas. McNabb had the arm, but he didn't have the accuracy, I don't think, that Mahomes has. That could be the difference between maybe getting Reed his first Super Bowl in Kansas City, something he couldn't do in Philadelphia. But I like watching Mahomes. I think he's fun to watch.
I think he's great. I'm just wondering if this is the real deal, or if we're going to have Mahomes mania just kind of fall off. But he does got a heck of an arm, that's for sure. Rick, what are your thoughts? Kansas City, what are your thoughts on them? Also, guys, you got to look at the L.A. Rams as possibly being the best team in football right now, and we very well might be seeing the 2018 Super Bowl champion play before our eyes right now, Rick, and those Rams.
Yeah, I agree with that with Mahomes and Kansas City. I would just say that at some point the offensive production is probably going to fall off because you just can't keep scoring 40 points a game, and do it all season long. And he does look like the real deal to me, but when he's truly tested against these good teams and it's a real close game and the game comes down and the win's going to be put on his shoulder, if he's going to be able to drive him down against, say, against a team like the Patriots, going against somebody like Belichick or a team coach like that, when it's really on the line, when he's tested that way, we'll see how he performs in. But I just think the score points in a ridiculous way, like a video game like they're doing right now with Mahomes, at some point this season, that's going to start to fade off.
Ed, what are your thoughts, though? The L.A. Rams, are they the best team in football right now? I mean, I think if you're an L.A. Ram fan, you got to like them, and they certainly are doing all the right things. And going into October, November, that's when they say you got to watch these teams, October, November. And the Rams are certainly passing, checking off boxes.
Yeah, they look unstoppable for sure. At least they did in September. Let's see what happens when we get into November and December. But right now, it doesn't look like they have a real weakness. And, it almost looks like you have to kind of match them point for point because that going into a game that they're going to put up, 24 to 30 points, maybe more, probably more. So I don't know if there's a defense out there that can hold them, to anything under 3 touchdowns a game. So, the question is, and I know here in Philadelphia, the question is, should they go and try to acquire Le'Veon Bell from the Steelers to kind of beef up that offense? Eventually hope to catch the L.A. Rams in points. The Eagles go out there to play a regular season game later this year. We'll see where both teams are at that point. But, that's the question is, should teams start to beef up their offense? Because you're going to have to score a lot of points to beat the Rams because it just doesn't look like there's a real weakness. Maybe the offensive line, if you can, kind of blitz, if you have a good blitz scheme against them and you could pressure Goff a little bit more, you can have some success. But right now, the way they're playing, it's hard to say they're not the best team in the NFL.
Well, you mentioned Bell. I think the Colts would like to have Bell too. There's a lot of rumor mills around Bell, but one of the things that I'm hearing here recently, within the last few minutes, even that the Steelers offer Le'Veon Bell reportedly included $20 million in guarantees. Now that might be enough money to keep him in the black and gold. What are your thoughts?
Well, they're going to have to do a lot of covering up some wounds with, teammates in the locker room. Everything that was said about Bell and his holdout, what went on, with him not really wanting to be part of the team. So, there's some damage control that would need to be done in that locker room if they brought Bell back from the inside with his teammates. So I don't know. They may have reached a point of no return with him, and they may have to trade him. But we'll see. Clearly, the Steelers are seeing how difficult it is to win without him, or a top-notch running back like him. So, the Steelers throwing money at him, I guess, now, and we'll see if Bell takes it. But, again, there's some wounds that were opened up during this holdout, and I don't know if that can be repaired.
Well, I'm all about a guy getting his money. I really am. I've never bought the statement that players often say, it's not about the money. It's always about the money. So I'm all about him wanting to get his money, but I kind of think he took it the wrong way. Rick, what are your thoughts on Bell and the Steelers? And I think we'd like to see him here at the Colts. I know Ed would like to see him there at the Eagles. I think there's a lot of teams that'll get him. Now, whether or not the Colts have what it takes to bring him here, that's a different story. I know Ballard has not played well in the free agency arena. We'll see if he does a little bit more here this spring. But what are your thoughts about this Bell holdout, Rick?
I don't know what the Colts have either if they can get him there. But to me, I feel like that would be a pretty good fit. Just in Pittsburgh, there's too many diva alpha male type egos in that locker room, and Bell's just one of them. And then you got AB and Juju Smith-Schuster, and even though Roethlisberger kind of keeps quiet, but he's the big alpha dominant male type also. I just think all that mixed together in a pot just doesn't work real well, and one of these guys is going to have to go, and Le'Veon Bell's probably that guy. And I think coming to Indianapolis will be a good fit because you don't have that type of drama. At least you don't hear of it in Indianapolis, and you don't even hear that sort of thing in Philadelphia either. But I feel like, the Colts have always just been missing a running back since Joseph Adai, really, and I just think it makes sense to bring Le'Veon Bell into Indianapolis.
And I like your argument about him coming to the Eagles, but let's talk about him coming to the Colts and what Rick just said about needing a running back. In my mind, in my thoughts, I'm thinking that if we bring Bell in, it's just more of a replacement for Gore. What are your thoughts?
Well, Bell's a lot younger. The question is I don't know what the salary cap situation is in Indianapolis if they can afford to bring him in, because when you bring him in, you're going to have to sign him. I'm not sure he's going to want to play out under his current contract and become a free agent because he doesn't want to do that in Pittsburgh for fear of injury. And we saw what happened with Earl Thomas when he was playing out his contract and he broke his leg. So, Bell is going to want a new contract. I don't know what kind of money the Colts have to throw at him. I know in Philadelphia it's particularly difficult. They're only about $5 million under the salary cap, and Carson Wentz is going to be due a huge raise here very soon. So I don't know if the Eagles could really afford him. It sounds nice in theory, and maybe you could trade Jay Ajayi to the Steelers in exchange for Bell. Both those running backs will be free agents at the end of the year. And then there's the compensatory picks that would be involved should either of those players walk at the end of the year. But for the Colts, it's a matter of how much money do they have to spend. Where are they spending their money now? I know Luck gets a lot of money, and the Eagles are going to be in that boat with Wentz here either after this year or next year when they have to give him a new contract. So I don't know if they could afford Bell. I'm not sure the Colts can. Maybe, Rick knows a little bit more about their salary cap and, what they can part with. I know the Eagles have 2 number 2 draft picks also next year. So, they could throw a number 2 in Jay Ajayi at the Steelers and acquire Bell. But, again, I don't know if they would be able to fit him into any sort of salary structure, the kind of salary that Bell wants anyway.
I don't know exactly what the cap is. I think we lost Rick, actually. Rick, are you still with us?
Yep, still here, but I get going here, buddy.
I know you got to get going. You got
Hard
something
out
to do on the golf course and Conor McGregor today. What the heck? What the heck?
Yeah, here's what I'm doing. I'm going an hour north of here to play golf and then watch the Irish dominate Virginia Tech tonight, and then I'm gonna watch the Conor McGregor fight. So fun-filled Saturday. Maybe I'll throw in Bed Bath & Beyond. But I don't know if I have any time.
All right, Rick. We'll talk with you again soon, and hopefully we'll get you back off the vacation swing. But that's all good, brother. It's all good.